Julian, it's good to have you back with us. So, in the past, we've talked about brands, we've talked about the high street. So, just I want to know what you're doing right now with regards to the brands and the high street. Have you got some stories to share with us?
Um, yeah, it's probably the best way of sort of sharing this with you is to talk about where we work with franchisees and franchisors.
Yeah.
So on franchise packages, historically we've worked with people like Burger King throughout the sort of southeast UK, but current franchisee or franchisor that we're working with is Donna Shack. What we've done is we've taken what is a German doner kebab concept. I did sort of sold as being the brand from Berlin, and with that we've helped implement units up in Scotland, out just outside Glasgow. We've recently just put one in just into Baker Street in London, which is the first one in London. But what we do here is we end up working for the franchisee. Now, what the franchisee is getting is that they've got brand security. They're working with an established brand and who can give them training, who can give them support in terms of their operation. But ultimately, they're the ones that are paying for the fit out, and they're paying for that opportunity and that brand support that comes with it. Now, we've worked with especially with one, but two or three different franchisees through the sort of Donna Shack process, and what we're finding is we start forming that partnership, we start getting that repeat work coming through again, and with that, they've got the support, and we've got the knowledge of that brand as an overall coming through, that we can help support that franchisee as it comes through.
So you mentioned the brand from Berlin and Donna Shack. I find the concept quite interesting. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
In terms of Donna Shack?
Yeah.
Donna Shack is actually a Scottish based company originally. They are an offshoot, if you like, or a sister company to Donna House. Okay. They are good, healthy, if you like, kebabs.
Love that.
The meat is actually German and comes from Germany. The bread is baked in the UK now, but to a continental recipe. And with that, they're an elevated move away from the elephant trunk, if you like, of your traditional sort of doner kebab type place to an elevated element of eating for casual dining. But they've got some very certainly in the Baker Street store that we've just opened up. You've got the mechanized cutting machines and cooking machines, which have been in each of the sort of ones that we've done, Leicester, Glasgow, and everything else. But what you've also got is you've got a lot of screen interaction, and you can actually see that your product being cooked in the kitchen on the back counter, the screens, and this sort of thing. So there's a lot of interaction and a lot of innovation in terms of that unit coming through.
So was that something that they suggested, or you suggested, or is that a sort of a rollout concept?
This is it's beginning to become, well, it is a rollout concept.
Yep.
We seem to be incorporating more and more innovation as we do more and more stores.
Yeah.
The centralized sort of cooking facility of the actual meat and how it's done is taken mechanically with by thermometer heating rates, timers, and it's automatically sliced. That's been in each. But the sort of development of the technology in terms of the ability for you to see in the kitchen, because we went down into a basement at Baker Street. Okay. So the kitchen is detached. Historically, the kitchen has been on view.
Yeah.
So that idea that you can still see the kitchen is because we've got sort of ground floor and basement cooking, floor operation, basement cooking. So we tried to link that come through. Basically, it all came through from the franchise holder.
Right. Okay. And you've just reinstalled my faith in that kebabs are healthy.
They are healthy if you eat the right ones.
Of course, of course, of course.
Your 1 o'clock on a Saturday night probably isn't quite as healthy.
Yeah, do you know what? I don't do that as often anymore. So what's the story behind you getting to work with the guys at Donna Shack?
Again, we were introduced
Yeah.
via consultants that we'd worked with previously. For one reason or another, it took a little bit of time to get established with the brand, if you like. Yeah. But they came back and we formed a relationship that we would represent the franchise option.
Yeah.
For all the sort of stores going forwards at this time.
Fantastic. So when people are thinking, okay, franchisee, and this, that, and the other, there's a lot out there. You know, we know the likes of McDonald's and things like that. What's your advice for people who are in, you know, to think, you know what, actually, this could be something I could invest in?
Okay, what I would say is that there's various franchises out there. There's franchise shows, that sort of thing. I would suggest go in, have a look at those franchise shows, see what would be a good fit for you. Work out how much it's actually going to cost for you to actually open that store, because some of these stores that we're opening at the moment are well into six figures in terms of what we're doing. Others will be less than that. In terms of making that connection and coming through, by all means contact us and we can recommend some people for you. Some of those we would have worked with, others we haven't worked with, but I'm more than happy to sort of facilitate that introduction through some of our contacts that we already have.
Fantastic. So you've led me straight into how we get hold of you, Julian.
Oh, okay. Email me. It's always best to email me. Email me at julian@jca-ltd.co.uk.
Fantastic. And Julian, what's your thoughts on the world of franchising and where it's going and how you see you guys being involved in it continuously?
Okay. In terms of sort of franchising, there seems to be more and more franchise models out there at the moment. We've worked at or looked at sort of different ones in terms of bakeries, in terms of coffee shops, in terms of very much high street, very fast casual, takeaway type concepts there. I think that there will be a plethora as we go forward of these branding opportunities. For you as a franchisee, you do get that benefit of working with an established brand. I would suggest that is a good way for you to enter onto the high street. And, you know, reading the different trade presses and that sort of thing, there's various people out there at the moment who have made themselves multimillionaires through franchise packages, effectively, taking those on, working with established brands, and they're actually develop their portfolios.
Awesome. Julian, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks ever so much for your time again today.
Okay, thanks very much.